Welcome back. The whole world reacted with anger and with the condemning with the firmest words and terms the latest Israeli massacre when they targeted a Tabi'in school, where hundreds of Palestinian families were sheltering. And unfortunately, the latest bombardment or strike by the Israeli occupation ended with the killing, the martyrdom to be accurate, of more than 100 Palestinians, mostly women and children, and the injury of dozens others. To shed more light on the whole issue, the latest massacre of the Israeli occupation, and the reactions which poured from the whole world regarding the latest attack, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone His Excellency Ambassador Medhat Meligi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you very much for being with us, Ambassador Meligi, and a very good morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you for having me.
Sir, let's start immediately with this latest massacre and the reactions from the world against it. Here, I'm not talking about the Arabs' reaction, for example, but we are talking about the condemnation coming from the White House, from the foreign ministries of France, of England, also the European Union. How do you see the reaction from the West, and if this is going to lead to some pressure on Israel, or these are only pseudo condemnations or only empty words, and Israel is going to continue what it started 10 months ago?
Well, unfortunately, I mean, the reactions are as expected. Condemnation in many countries and regrets in other countries. And, well, you will not find even the United States was dissatisfied totally with the Israeli action. However, when it comes to actions, this is where you find a very, very different response. I mean, did any country declare, for instance, any weapon supplier declare that it will not provide Israel with any weapons? We didn't hear any of that. Are there any sanction, embargo on Israel, anything of the sort? No, nothing, unfortunately. So, and this is the kind of mixed message that we are receiving from the supporters of Israel. They condemn sometimes the actions of Israel, but at the same time, even when they condemn, there is no action that is accompanying this kind of condemnation. It is just a few words of regret of what happened, and that's it. So what I do care about is to see a certain kind of serious pressure on Israel when you start to do things the right way they should, by not providing any arms to Israel and by taking serious measures against the regime in Israel.
Amen to that, sir. But how do you see this repeated excuse of Israel regarding the bombardment of civilians or hospitals, schools, you name it, saying that they are targeting Hamas fighters? They are trying to evade the targeting of civilians, despite the fact that until the moment, Gaza Health Ministry said nearly 40,000 Palestinians were martyred. There are still thousands under the debris, and other thousands injured. I think now more than 90,000 Palestinians, mostly women, children, and minors. How do you see this excuse, which is all the time repeated by the Israeli genocide commanders, and also the reaction of the world against these statements in specific?
Well, I have to say something.
Yeah.
I have to say that Israel sometimes their intelligence tells that there is some Hamas militant somewhere. As long as there is even one Hamas militant, even if it's not an important one, Israel will shoot wherever he is, even if this would lead to the death of tens of civilians and women and children and elderly people and non-Hamas combatants. They don't mind at all the casualties that will happen once there is a Hamas militant in this or that area. That's the real problem, because Israel is not, I think in many cases, when they did it, not in all cases, because sometimes they deliberately shoot civilians and they deliberately, indiscriminately, they shoot civilians and non-combatant people. But in many cases, they think, and this is not enough, but for them it's enough, that there is a Hamas militant and they have to kill him. And in order to do so, they don't mind taking with them tens of other Palestinians. That's why we've seen many massacres in some places that are not supposed to have. This intelligence information could be wrong. They could kill many more of civilian Palestinians. They don't mind doing that. However, at the end of the day, the Palestinian lives do not count at all. But the problem with Israel by doing so is not the Israeli reactions, because as we have seen before, the Israeli public opinion do not mind at all killing many Palestinians as you want. They only care about their hostages. This is the only thing that is actually driving the Israeli population, because as I said before, and as many studies have shown, Israeli studies, that over 98% of the Israeli population do not see that the IDF is using too much firepower. They think it's adequate. Their only problem is the hostages. So as an observer like me, I do care about the reaction of the external world, about the international community. What are you going to do to Israel because of the continuous massacres that it's committing? Are you going to take serious measures against Israel or not? But don't just give us words, because people are dying. People are being massacred on a daily basis. And this is enough. This is enough.
But, sir, this bombardment or this strike in specific came just 2 days after the joint statement which was released by the three mediators, the United States, Egypt, and Qatar. And the United Arab Emirates also was added to the efforts exerted to put an end to the catastrophic situation in Gaza. Is this the answer of Israel? Can I consider that this is the practical answer of Israel toward the ceasefire negotiations? This is the answer, to be accurate, by Benjamin Netanyahu?
Well, let me put it this way. Is this the first time that there is a peace initiative accepted by Hamas and accepted by the international community and prepared and orchestrated by Egypt and some many times with Qatar and the United States? No, this is not the first time. And the Israeli answer was always to sabotage any effort of calming the situation, simply because it doesn't want to end the war. As we heard it from many Israeli leaders. And even yesterday, Mr. Naftali Bennett, who is the ex-Prime Minister of Israel, had said the same thing. We will not stop until we finish Hamas. This is the only thing they see. So Israel will continue to do that as long as it's getting the support of the United States and the major Western countries. And that's what Israel is doing. I mean, Israel is not doing this in a vacuum. Israel is doing this because it knows that it will always enjoy the trust and the support of the United States and the major Western countries. This is the only reason. It doesn't mind at all this number of martyrs. 40,000 is not a big number for them. They could even go to 80,000, 100,000. They could go to the million. They don't mind until they achieve their goal. And why do they do that? Simply because nobody is telling them to stop. Seriously. I mean, the idea of, as I said in the beginning of